Okay, and we are live, and we just
What you do to him?
Ed from our feed. He was just here, I swear.
We don't have. Oh, we do have a couple.
There you
Delete
are.
myself then? Did I just delete myself somehow?
I think you did. Yeah.
What
I
the
just said
actual
we're going
fuck?
live, and you disappeared.
Yeah, it's so weird. As soon as you did that, it just
We never had anybody leave on us before they started.
Yeah, just as I go live, I'm like, I'm out. Fuck this.
That's right. You two freaking guys. No way.
Oh my god.
Everybody, Ed is here from New Zealand, and he has a superpower. He lives in the future.
I do. Yeah.
And he's decided to come from Saturday at 1 p.m. back in time to talk to us here. And Ro already put the like and subscribe. I had that written down in my notes to do, but
I'm on top of it, man. I
think you forgot the share, didn't you? It's like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You got to do the whole lot, you know. You can buy the merch from the store. The link's in the description.
So, Ed, I am transfixed now. When we talked to Ryan, he told us that you all have your own chat room on Discord.
Yeah, so, I think we have to kick him out because he talked about it, but then I realized I talked about it in the chat, so I'm like, well, maybe both of us are going to be booted out.
So my first question is, what can you dish on your fellow competitors?
Well,
right,
that was an unintentional pun there because it's just fucking food. They just like I don't eat much at all. You can tell. Look, I'm a skeleton. I don't need to eat. I just
me either.
And I don't absorb the sunlight. Given how pale I am, it can't be that. It must just be the energy of other people. So like all my flatmates are super depressed, and I'm just like absorbing it. But yeah, the latest ones today. I think there was even discussion about food. It's like I log in, and I'm usually either ahead or behind or whatever it works out to be. So I'll log in the morning, and it will be like nighttime, wherever most of them are, and it will just be piles of stuff about like what they ate or what they're gonna cook. Or the latest though, was it Katie got an axe? She's going to do some firewood. Was it Katie? It was either Katie or Wend, one or the other. They got an axe for firewood, and yeah, it's Wend. Yeah, so it's just stuff like that, you know. Like we just get there's a glimpse into our secret chat, and it's it's very wholesome. Nothing, barely anything related to writing. It's mostly just that.
So you got all get together on something like this where you can see and talk to each other in real time and do like a SPFBO version of the Great World Baking Show or something?
Yeah, we had the TBRCon chat. That was the first time I think I'd actually physically talked to, well, as physically as this is, like talk to people sort of face to face. You know, it's the weirdest thing because you talk through Discord or on Twitter or what have you, and it's like in my mind I picture people differently. I actually mostly just picture them as their little profile icon, like that's what they look like in real life. So in my mind, Morgan is literally a small dog,
a talking dog. Okay.
Yeah,
and what
are you away
in this world?
What am I? What am I actually? Oh, I'm really edgy. I'm the same as I am in this chat here. I've got like my hoodie up, and that's a photo from when I was in a band, and I was trying to be like, because I'm very not edgy, and so we were all trying to be.
Bass player?
No, it's the drummer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it should really be apparent. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not really part of the band, but yeah, it was just like they wanted us to look really serious and shit, and that was probably about the 60th take because I just kept cracking up laughing. And the rest of the photos, like I wasn't supposed to wear a shirt or just a jacket, and there's like they were trying to pose us everywhere, and I just kept taking off all my clothes and just, you know, it was a nightmare. So that's about the best I can be. What were you talking about again? Oh yeah, the secret chat. Yeah, it's great. It's so weird because I don't really know what to add to it because they're talking about food, and I'm like, mushrooms?
Is it one or two people who are just kind of constantly putting out the food kind of posts?
Oh, no, it's like everybody,
really,
except me. Yeah,
except you. Well, the guy we had the other night, he said he didn't really.
Oh, he's lying. No, right, he's lying. Come on, Ryan. No, I can't remember actually. He does actually usually talk about more not serious, but like more useful things, I think. So they were talking about like writing and different things and like dealing with so when you get a review, it's so bizarre. So when we get a review with for one book, all of us will go in there and be like, oh god, I hope it's good. And it's like, you really shouldn't, right? Like if it's a competition, you're like should really be like, oh, I hope it's shit so that mine is good and I win. But instead we're all like, oh my God, if it's bad, we're like, oh, this is bullshit. This judge doesn't know what he's talking about. So we'll have a little rant. It's very wholesome.
That's what makes the Great British Baking Show worth watching, right? And so much different than all the dross that we get on American reality TV, where people are like, well, I'm going to play this way in Formula Land, blah, blah, blah. But people all get along and they're happy.
Yeah.
And I think it's an inverse proportion to the value of the prize, right?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. If it was
So
like $60,000, I'd be like,
$12
yeah, I'm killing
wand that doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah.
So
chances are, if I won, chances are I probably wouldn't even get it, because shipping things to New Zealand, it wouldn't be worth it.
Right.
Like, I don't even have a lot of coins. It's like Mark messaged me and I was just like, nah, it's probably too expensive. Don't worry. So I mean,
I'll send you $10 on Amazon. You can get your own.
Yeah. Just treat yourself to something nice, save yourself the money. But yeah, it's really weird. Like, it doesn't feel like a competition. It hasn't the whole time. Like, I think you were talking about that last time as well, Mike, right? Like in the first few rounds, it's like you go onto the actual SPFBO Discord, and everyone's just like super nice, sharing things. And before long, the chat was just totally unrelated to the actual competition.
Yeah,
it was just people just talking about random crap. It's just an excuse to come together, which I think was the intention behind it. Sort of was just to show the community and show people that some pub stuff is valid.
I think it's kind of nice in a way, because it gives writers who are traditionally a fairly introverted bunch a way to pretend that they're actually out there talking to people.
Yeah. I actually have, I think, pissed a few people off on Twitter when they talk about like how introverted and how hard it is to deal with these filthy extroverts, and there's me like I can make friends with anyone. Like, I'll just talk to strangers. They don't even have to be humans. Like, I just
your countrymen are kind of renowned for that, though.
Yeah, but like, weirdly enough, even amongst the like author groups and stuff, we are a little more extroverted than the norm. But then people would still they'd still be like, "Oh, I'm so shy." But it's like, compare that to like the shy people from other countries, and they're like, "No, you're really outgoing."
You're really not.
Yeah, but it's really weird, because people will talk about how extroverted they are, and there's me just being like bullying them into being my friend.
You will be my friend.
True, it's Saturday for one of us, by the way.
Hey, true, yeah. I am in the future. I'll tell you the lotto numbers if you like.
Awesome. There we go.
I was going to say I'll tell you who won the Super Bowl, but I don't even actually know. It's already happened, right?
Oh, yeah, it was like a week ago.
Okay, cool.
Kansas City won, by the way.
Okay, I'm gonna pretend I know you. I even know where Kansas is. Isn't that where like Dorothy's from?
Yeah, you're not missing anything. It's all good.
So, Ed, I have a question for you.
Go on.
You currently have 3 books out, right?
Yeah.
What's it called again? I wrote it down. The trilogy.
The Vishivka trilogy.
Book trilogy, yes. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll start here.
So, and you're writing a pirate novel that's filled with mice, rats, something like that?
Yeah, rats. So I just hard pivoted into completely something different.
So my first question is, are you ever going to write about us boring mortals, humans, or is it just a human free zone in your world?
I was actually thinking about that. I probably should write some actual humans, but I think it was Cam in the Nerd Book Review pointed it out. Like he said it better than I probably could have, and probably will now. And that's the fact that like if you write about humans or read about humans, you bring your own preconceived biases. Like, okay, so the argument I have at work all the damn time is watching things like Avatar, right? And Starship Troopers and all these things where the humans are supposed to be like the bad guys and they're oppressing these poor aliens. I'm always rooting for the humans. Like, I don't care what anyone says. They could be the worst dudes in the world, but I'm rooting for them because I'm a human. I'm like, I don't want the stinky blue aliens to win, even if they're like tree-hugging hippies that live on a planet with absolutely no wildlife to worry about. Like, that's easy mode. I like it the humans have traveled across the stars and are genociding these little blue nerds. And I'm like, they're awesome. They're so cool. I'm rooting for them because they're badass. And they're human. And I don't really want to do that with my own writing, where if I put humans in, I'm automatically going to like them best. It's like D&D, right? You can play as all these fantastical races. Nah, boring human. Like, just standard fighter. That's me.
So why rats?
So rats is my... there's a reason. It's my active protest against Redwall. I like Redwall, right?
Oh,
I like
yeah.
it. But it's so racist against rats. Like, rats are awesome creatures. I used to have them as a kid, little pet rats. They're super friendly, really nice. They smell good. And then in all the books and stuff, they're like these horrible villains. And I was like, nope, I don't like that. So, yeah, I wanted to make the rats. I haven't actually really thought about what they're called in the world. They're like rat people, obviously. But I haven't really made a point of difference between the rats or the other rodent type people. And so I was like, I might just make it so that they're all rat people. So I don't have
who
to
are the
worry
bad
about
guys then? Just like different species of rat?
like the Spanish rats. Yeah. So it's pirate stuff, right? Like, so I'm just basically cribbing from actual history, and because I'm English, of course the English ones are going to be the good ones, and the Spanish are the bad ones. But it's kind of like pirate stuff. There's a group of them. There's like merchant ones and pirate ones, and like they go on an adventure. And I also stole the plot from the 1980s Transformers movie. If you've seen that, there's like
They weren't using it. That's fine.
Yeah, it's a giant planet called Unicron, and he goes and he's like trying to eat other planets, and he's basically the big villain. And so I just thought it would be really cool to have a creature that was like this world-ending beast that is sentient itself, and then have that controlling a fleet of bad ones. And so I'm just having that it's like a giant alligator or crocodile. So I'm just stealing from other shit.
Well, that's all anybody does.
Yeah.
Since you said the words Spanish rat, the picture I've had in my mind are three little rats in red robes busting into a room going, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah. Oh, the weird thing is, right, I was going to do that sort of stuff. I was going to literally have like the Spanish ones be really like, I guess they're Catholic, right?
Yeah,
all that sort of thing. But then I don't like writing about religion because I'm not particularly religious, and I never really want to be mean to people that are religious or whatever. So I was just like, I probably should just not. And then I realized about halfway through writing what I've written that there's no religious stuff at all. It's almost like this group of rat people just have never had the concept of religion. But then I was trying to think of like swear words or curses, and the vast majority of the stuff we use is based on religion, like even just saying like damn or whatever. Right. So I was like, I kind of should, just so that I can then include those sorts of curses.
Rat bastard is an obvious one.
Yeah. That's just all of them.
Yeah.
So are there any cats in your world or just rats?
No, so far it's just rats and also crab-eating raccoons. So they're like, there's always there's that stereotypical like voodoo priest type, in pirate stories, there's always that. Like I'm stealing from Monkey Island, of course, I'm going to put that in there as well. But I didn't want it to be like the usual, just take like Louisiana voodoo type stuff and use that. So instead I used them as like they're crab-eating people. Like they're like little tiny raccoons, very cute ones. I mean, all raccoons are cute, right? But these ones in particular, they eat crabs, I think.
Freaking garbage pandas.
Yeah, but they're still cute, like in its own special way.
Sure.
Like they're better than anything we have in New Zealand, trust me. It's like all the creatures we have here are so lame.
No, you've got like, or is it maybe it's Australia, wombats? Where the hell are wombats?
No, we don't have wombats. We don't have any, I think, native terrestrial mammals. Like all our creatures are shitty old lizards that don't do anything, or birds that can't fly, and they all require like conservation efforts because they're rubbish at evolution. So we have some cool parrots though, like down in the South Island, down in the Alps here, we have these parrots that will strip the rubber off your window seals for no reason other than their dicks.
Just are you going to give one of the rat captain a parrot?
A parrot? Yeah, I was thinking that it would be quite funny to have small parrots.
Yeah, like, stunted growth parrot with a really bad attitude. That make that the one that swears.
Yeah.
A swearing parrot.
The only character in the whole book that swears. I am quite careful not to swear that much in my books, or even on Twitter, which is really strange because I swear all the time. But yeah.
How big are these rats?
I haven't really thought of that because they're all to scale, right? So like I describe something in the world as being a certain height or like a size, but I never really use like measurements. And then I was thinking about it. I was like, if a person came along, would they be huge?
Right, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Would a person like going out in a little rowboat see these 5, 3-masted ships firing, little
tiny cannonballs
at each other or something, and kind of go?
Yeah. I was thinking that might be the coolest way to do it, like as a twist ending, just have a person come along and like accidentally step on them or something. But
can't do that.
I haven't really thought that far ahead. Yeah.
So this isn't what your current books are about.
No, so that's just the stuff I'm writing right now. But my existent books are about like Slavic Russian folklore creatures doing stereotypical fantasy shit.
What book did you submit for SPFBO?
That's this one. I prepared myself here. It's Daughter of the Beast, and it's The Secret of Nim. There's El Montague. I can never remember how to pronounce that name. Secret of Nim. Did you know the Nim is actually supposed to stand for the National Institute of Mental Health?
In
the Secret of Nim,
story?
yeah.
That's what
So
it's supposed to be.
in that story, those rats are escaped from those rat utopia intelligence tests on rats.
I haven't seen that movie in so long.
It's really weird. Anyway, yeah. What were we talking about again?
So the book that you put in SPFBO, what's that?
Yeah. So it's about a little girl. She's also not a human, and she's Kikimora, which is like Russian folklore creatures. Yeah, there you go. Have you got like one of the versions that has all the typos and errors before I fix them?
Got this from Amazon, so
it probably is. Yeah, depends on when you got it. I feel sorry for people who actually supported me early and bought the earlier copies because that was prior to me patching them. But you can't like force the updates onto people's physical copies. Yeah,
people are really bringing the knowledge, aren't they?
Holy shit!
Yeah, right.
oh my goodness.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it's all like diseases, death and infirmity, sexuality, disfavored groups. I feel as though when it comes to rats, there's a limited,
Cats.
Yeah, true. They could just call each other mice.
They probably hate mice.
Yeah. But yeah, so thanks. So Daughter of the Beast, yeah, it's a mixed up sort of coming of age story. So it's like a villain origin story through told as like a fantasy coming of age. It's basically just a big old story about Stockholm syndrome. Like a little girl gets captured by these wolf people, monsters, and then raised by them to get up to shenanigans.
Oh, so it's like the Grinch Stole Christmas is a Stockholm syndrome. Just a guy wants to live in peace, and the neighbors won't shut up, and then he ends up liking them, gets a heart condition, and is probably going to die just as soon as this film ends. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, same energy. Yeah.
Well, when your heart grows to 4 times its size, that's usually the opposite of something bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
I have this argument every day with my coworkers.
Speaking of medical stuff, like I actually work for a company that writes that, right? Like I write, when you go to the doctor, it's probably not the same in the States, but here, if you go to the doctor, doctors don't know what the fuck they're on about. So they just Google they have Doctor Wikipedia that they look into. And like, my job is to write that crap. So if you go to the doctor in New Zealand and they're like, your heart's 4 times the size, perfectly healthy. That's my fault. Sorry.
I have a brother-in-law who's a doctor in New Zealand, actually.
Oh, no, poor guy.
His name is Dre. He's actually Dr. Dre.
No way. That's amazing. Yes.
Can't make it up.
It's so good.
So, Ed, are you ever going to write in other genres other than fantasy? Are we going to see a space opera from you one day?
Isn't space opera just fantasy but with spaceships anyway?
And singing.
Oh, yeah. Now that's something I would actually want to see. But yeah, no,
Star Trek the musical.
Yeah, just like legit an actual opera, but it's in space. I don't really. Okay, I'm so sorry for admitting this. I don't really like sci-fi stuff all that much, anyway. Like I don't. I love weirdly though. My favorite book is Starship Troopers. Hence my blatant human supremacist.
That's your favorite?
My absolute favorite book of all time.
Starship Troopers?
Yeah. The OG by Heinlein, yeah.
I'm not going to argue with you. You're a SPFBO finalist, and I'm nobody, but, wow. I'm a little amazed at that.
I love it. I just love the fact that you go into it, like, because, I mean, obviously, I'd seen the movie before I read the book, because I'm, like, a child of the 80s, 90s, whenever it was. You watch a movie, and you're like, holy shit, this is based on a book. So I went back and read the book, and I was like, oh, it's not just dudes zapping bugs and getting ripped to shreds. It's actually like a boring ass book about lectures in politics. And And they don't even like use machine guns. They fly, like jump around in giant mech suit things. It's nowhere near the same. But that's my favorite movie, and then that's my favorite book, and they're not even the same. So I don't know.
So it's your favorite movie and your favorite book.
Yeah, my favorite movie is the movie Starship Troopers, and my favorite book is the book, and they're totally different.
I can't believe that you watched the movie and you said, "I want more of this."
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I got the book, which is not more of that, and it's totally the opposite. And I was like, I love them both. Yeah.
We've reached a very weird part in this show, Mike.
Yeah, right. Like, but
got to be closing on episode 50, and we finally hit like super weird with it.
Yeah, it's. I should be banned from writing and reading, but there are no laws to do that. So.
But Ro, you got to remember, he is from the future, so we have to.
Liked it.
That's fair.
Yeah, maybe the reason I don't like sci-fi is because I'm in it. Like, being in the future, it's like I already know what's going to happen.
Sorry, I'll be right back with you. I'll just.
I Am Legend book and movie. Yeah, it's the same sort of deal. It's like the movie is Will Smith going around with a dog and whatever he's doing, and then the book is like the guy contemplating his philosophical views while he waits for execution by these weird underground vampires. It's so different. There you go. I've spoiled the whole fucking thing for you, so don't bother. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I would probably write in other genres. I've written small pieces of stuff here and there about, like, I wrote a story about a guy. It was literally just a guy who had a cool car doing cool car stuff. It's probably no audience in that. Like,
what are the cannabis laws in New Zealand?
The cannabis laws?
Yeah.
Don't really know.
What's that?
I would have no idea. No, it's illegal here, but nobody really cares about the law.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that either.
No, yeah, we're actually really backwards with that. We had a referendum. We called it the referendum. It was very funny.
Right.
And it failed. Really? Yeah, it's really
I'm
strange. People were like, nope. It's like the government doesn't understand taxation. Sorry?
Say anything to keep the Australians out, eh?
Well, I think it's all us going to Australia and selling meth to them. And then we have a whole bunch of money. We don't really know what to do with it. We were hoping maybe we could like invest in cannabis farms, but we already do that anyway. It's just like every forestry block is filled to the brim with them. It's really strange.
It is a little bit.
It's very common over here. Like, apparently, I mean, I'm obviously this is being recorded, right? So I have no idea. This is all hypothetical. But apparently, New Zealand's weed is way better than weed from other countries. Apparently, allegedly.
It has way better weed?
Yeah, apparently.
I can believe that.
Tickets to New Zealand aren't so expensive either, just saying.
Have you traveled outside New Zealand much?
Yeah. I was born outside New Zealand and then traveled here. I've been to Australia a bunch, to Ukraine, and to a little bit of Southeast Asia. But yeah. I was in Ukraine when the Maidan protests kicked off. I was born in the UK. I was born in Solihull, which is near Birmingham, I think. But my family lived on the Isle of Wight. Like, I was born there and then moved to the Isle of Wight when I was like 2 or something. So we lived there, very posh, like yachting place. It's very fancy. And then we moved to New Zealand and we went from that super fancy yachting community to the most backwater, like bat fuck nowhere New Zealand. My parents both taught at a school. There were 2 classrooms. One had each classroom. And there were like 50 kids. And it was like a bit of a culture shock.
BFE New Zealand is saying something for, an island nation that's 5,000 miles away from every damn thing.
Yeah, well, it's a surprisingly large landmass, actually. I think we're the same size as the UK, Japan, something like that. Quite a reasonably large 2 islands. And then Stewart Island, but nobody gives a shit about them. And then there's, and most of I think it's like something like 60% of New Zealand, or maybe even more, live in the North Island. Mm-hmm. And then there's a bunch of straggler weirdos that all live in the South Island. Hence why I moved down. They kicked me out of the North.
Y'all recovered from that giant earthquake a few years back?
Yeah, well, that's this city. This house is actually really good. My old house was like the cracks through the wall and all that sort of stuff. We moved down afterwards to exploit the cheap property prices and the suffering of the South Islanders. They were all, they'd all escaped, so we just filled the void.
Carpetbaggers.
Yeah, like my flatmates and I, we lived in Auckland, which is like the worst place in New Zealand. It's like it's the capital city, and all the Aucklanders are desperate to escape Auckland, and so they'll just flood where there's cheap stuff because the houses there are so expensive. Yeah, we moved down here. It's really nice. It's like the people are actually friendly here. You know, you go to a shop.
In like peak summer right now.
Yeah, it's actually surprisingly nice today. We've had really bizarre weather where it's just really windy, rain, on and off. It feels like summer's just started. So I see all the things online. People are saying, "Oh, there's flowers sprouting. Like spring is here in the northern hemisphere," and I'm like, "Wow, we have barely started summer." So,
well, yeah, we don't have much for winter here anymore.
That's all right though. Yeah, people are like, "Oh no, global warming," and I'm out there running my car 24/7, doing burnouts, burning tires, anything to make it warmer.
I always tell people that I want to have palm trees in my front yard. So
yeah,
come on, global warming.
Yeah, I'll just go burn some polystyrene just to hurry that process up. You know, like I just want it to be more like Mad Max. You know, yeah.
Last time we had global warming, it allowed for full crop seasons in Europe. So.
That doesn't seem like a bad thing to me. I mean, sure, there will be a whole bunch of people that died, but only the strong will survive, right?
So, I mean, right now we're looking at the loss of Florida, and
that's not a loss, is it?
I think we can make it past that.
Yeah, but the problem is all the ones that are a little sharper would then escape and start migrating elsewhere. You'd have to build a wall, maybe make them pay for it.
Yeah, there you go. I'm glad you said it. Outstanding. So, what are you drinking there?
I'm drinking Soda Stream, so I'm really cheap. I barely pay for anything, and I just buy like soda bottle things in a little machine that fizzes the water up, and then I put syrup in. So it's like Pepsi or something. It's pretty mediocre. But yeah.
I mean, it is only noon there, so it'd be a little early to be, kicking back, beer or something.
Oh, I did that before I was preloading. Just
okay, that's fair.
To get rid of the nerves,
That explains a whole lot of the last 25. That's the case.
So, Ed, how long have you been writing?
Oh, way to pull that, Mike. Well done.
Yeah, that was good. You're refocusing it. You're like that one teacher that's just like, okay, kids, focus up. Like writing as in for the sake of publishing and all that sort of thing, or just writing? Because I assumed that was when I was like 5 that I started.
Yeah, for the sake of publishing, not writing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that's a fair enough question in New Zealand because it could have been like 2 years ago that I even learned to write. But yeah, I started writing for this maybe 2019, somewhere around then, properly. But prior to that, I'd started working on the concept for the story back in 2014 when I was in Ukraine, and just because I wanted to steal their culture.
Fair.
And put it in something cool. Just what is it, cultural appropriation or whatever? Just wanted to do that.
But the Russians were taking over in 2014, so they weren't using it.
Exactly right. Yeah. Well, I do piss a lot of people off by being like, I can't tell the difference, Ukrainian and Russian culture, and I'm like, same to me. Like, it's so bad. You're gonna get this channel's gonna be fucking delicious. They're gonna shut you down.
Keep this up, and I'm going to make comments about Latin American countries, and it's just going to get really bad.
Yeah, they'll shut us down.
Before you know it, people start saying Canadians aren't polite, and then there'd just be anarchy.
Yeah, but then you get us going, are you American? Whereabouts are you from? Like, are you from New York? And it's like, you're from, I don't know, insert Canadian place here. I only know like Manitoba and.
Well, there's only 10, really.
Yeah,
and
it's very hard for us.
They're all this close to the United States, so.
Well, isn't above that just basically that new episode, that new season of True Detective is basically just the whole of whatever's above you? It's all just ice and Wendigos and shit.
Yeah, anything pretty much above Toronto is just tundra.
Yeah.
Yeah, Canada's just America's top hat.
Pretty much.
No. It's our toque.
It's to stop the Americans from figuring out like where the edge of the world is and falling off.
Yeah, exactly.
There's like the border to stop them.
Oh, yeah, that is the U.S. educational system.
Yeah, I do swear that like people surely can't believe that, right? Like that the world is flat. Surely not. Like it's
yeah, there are
my
people who do.
my tinfoil hat theory is that that's not a real conspiracy theory, but it's been implanted in the conspiracy theory community to
Did you like
muddy the waters. So when we're like, "Oh, aliens," they go, "What do you think? The world is flat?" You know, it's to shut down the conversation.
I think people just need to do something that they think is going to be different enough to get some attention somewhere.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they figure, oh, we'll go back to this.
Hey,
So,
bro, good
Yes.
news.
what?
John Douglas is here to keep everyone straight now and in order.
It's time to make it everyone's problem. Oh
Is
no.
that what he does?
I've never
Yeah,
seen
he's
him, but
always
it doesn't
well
mean
behaved.
he can't. Once.
You can give it a
That's
shot.
true. Just because the sun's risen every day doesn't mean that it will tomorrow, you know?
And
Not for
that is
everyone.
my brother, by the way, who is trying to find the West Pole.
Dan?
Yeah.
That's Mikey's brother?
Oh.
Hi, Mike's brother.
Don't encourage him. There's a reason why I moved away.
So what's your writing process, Ed? We may as well ask you a couple of serious questions.
Oh,
on
yes. Fair play. My writing process is I stay up way too late. I write everything on this crappy phone.
that. No shit.
so
Do you really?
Yeah, all 3 books, everything I've written.
You
is
write on a
here.
phone?
How old are you?
12?
It's
I
a
mean, you have
secret.
eyes
No,
that
I'm
work,
38.
so- You're
And you
what?
just
Yeah.
write with your thumbs.
Yes.
Who's written a book that's a SPFBO finalist and this guy?
It's just like, this guy. Yeah, I just write everything on that. So I just go outside. Usually, I don't know, it'd be like 3 a.m. or something. Inspiration will strike. So I'll just go and I'll just sit there, chain smoking and writing until like 6 o'clock. And then I'm like, oh shit, I have work tomorrow. So I call in sick and then I spend the whole day sleeping.
I'm
That's pretty much my process.
still
I can
on-
only get away with it like, what, 40
thought-
days a year? 10 days a year, something like that?
What's that?
I can only get away with it for as many days as I have like sick leave each
Right.
year. So
But don't you
or
guys
leave.
have like a shit ton of sick leave?
No, we just pull them. We're like, I think we only have like 10 days a year or something that we're legally allowed to take, but we take more. It's sort of a cultural thing.
We have to earn ours by the hour.
Oh, I think we're the same, but I think they grant them to you. Like you'll start a job and you'll have like 10 days that you can use. So don't use them all at once.
Yeah, I've found I'm very bad at recording those when I use them. I just keep forgetting to put them into the system.
Right.
It's a shame.
I think what you need to do is you need to take a couple of days off for like mental health days or whatever. Yeah, just to try and really deep dive into why that is and get them to pay for it.
Well, I do that at work. I tell them this is a mental health day, so don't ask me to do anything.
Yeah.
I work for a really big company, so they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's the trick. You got to fall through the cracks in the machinery. It's
You can.
How do I smoke it? Type on
using your hands, man.
I don't smoke with my hands. I smoke with my mouth.
You just,
Yeah, exactly. You hold it with your teeth to make you feel like a real badass. Yeah,
very
that's the
Hunter
one.
S. Thompson of you.
But then I'll because I only need one thumb to type, so I type like that. And
Oh my God! How old did you say you were?
I'm 38.
38. Oh my God! What are you going to do when your eyes go bad? Because that's
they already are. So my font size is really big.
But he feels like he's doing like 80 pages a day, so it's really cool.
Yeah, it makes it feel like I've written way more, and I do the like word counter thing on Google Docs, and it's like 200 words, and I'm like, fuck, I tweet more than this, and like, But yeah, I don't know, like a whole lot. I just find it way more comfortable. I don't really like typing. I used to, as a kid, we used to have to do that. Mavis Beacon teaches typing.
Oh yeah, yeah,
in class.
You
Remember
are
that?
old. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'd have like it'd be typewriter thing before that, but
yes.
Those were only fun so that you could press all the buttons at once and jam the thing.
Right, but then when you start learning to type on it, your fingers get stuck between the keys, and you have to pull them out, and they all cut up on the sides.
Yeah, they migrated us to like Amigas or something, or like Macs, and you'd have to type the thing to make the little car go across the top of the screen. And I just really didn't like doing it. I can't figure out whether I'm a touch typer or I look at the screen when I'm typing, or look at the keyboard. I don't know, whatever.
So when you're typing on your phone, do you look at your phone?
No, not really.
You're one of those little pricks that can just type.
Oh yeah, so I get really frustrated with those whole like don't text and drive laws. Like I used to be, it was easier with button phones because you could just be like driving along,
Sure.
and you're because like 3 presses on one is like a C, and you memorize that. You're just like, and now I can do the same thing, and so I'll be driving along, and I'm like, this is illegal, but I'm not paying attention when I'm driving anyway. So it's like, what's the harm? I got a really good idea right now when I'm driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My son
So
gets
you gotta,
all
like,
pissed off with me, my daughter especially, that I have to look down and quite often I have to stop walking if I'm, texting
Oh,
something
no
or
way.
typing something because there's no tactileness to it's just
Yeah.
a flat screen, right? And
Yeah.
there's no way to, and I got big fat thumbs and it drives them nuts, and they just sit there and go, "Oh, look, I'm going to look and talk at you, and while I'm typing with my hand over here." And
Yeah, it does. It does help to have like small feminine fingers. Like I can type very.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
do I use swipe?
You don't
No,
plot them.
No, I just make it up as I go along.
Okay.
Yeah, I have like a general idea of what I want to do. Like
Yeah.
I'll have an idea of the theme, or I'll have an idea of like a character arc or something on a big picture level, and then I just wing it for the whole thing, and then I go back and I make sure that everything connects.
Do you edit on your phone too?
Yeah.
So people could. I use Microsoft Word, and some people are like, "Oh my God, I could never use Word. There's so much scrolling." How much scrolling do you have to do on a phone?
A lot. Yeah. It's crazy. It actually gets so bad. Like my phone's really crap, so like it overheats. If I have to split the document into chapters, otherwise, trying to scroll through it will freeze.
Yeah.
And then before I know it, I'm like on chapter 38 when I was only trying to go to chapter 26.
Maybe you should enter a contest that has a good enough prize where you could get a new phone.
Yeah. It's like I'll get a selfie stick which will be able to hold my phone if I win the SPFBO.
Yeah.
I'll be able to hold my phone, and I don't know what that'll help, maybe reach out and type. But yeah, no, it's just a weird pathology, I guess. Like I don't know why I do it. Like I do like all the formatting and stuff on my computer, and I will go through and edit stuff on my computer if need be. But I don't know. It's just the fact that it's on the phone means that I can just do it whenever inspiration strikes.
Yeah,
I don't really. Yeah.
I'm talking from a place mostly born out of jealousy. That I can't do that. I have to be at my house, at my desk, in front of my computer to be doing anything. And even then, I get stuck playing Civ and not doing what I should be doing. So, I mean, yeah, it'd be really useful to be,
Yeah, it is one of those things with the grass is greener type deal, because I'm always slightly envious of the fact that people can. Well, the people can plan out what they want to do and stick to it. That's amazing to me.
Oh,
I
yeah, I
do that.
understand that.
I can't even do that in life. And then it's like also that people can actually sit down and go, I'm going to write, and then they write. Like, how do they even do that? Like, I have to do it when I get told by the spirits to do it or something. I don't decide this shit. It just happens. If I sit down to write, like I'd do assignments at uni or at school or whatever, and I would wait until the minute before they're due to do them. Otherwise, I just wouldn't do it.
Sure.
I just don't feel like it. Yeah.
So you've got 3 books now?
Yeah, so three here. Yeah.
What's that?
I've got 3. I've got all 3 of them here.
Oh, 3 here. I thought you said 3 a year. So
no,
you've put out 3 books since 2019.
Yeah, they released and I actually got order released out in 2022. So that's 19, 20, 21, 22. So 4 years. I wrote all 3 of them in 4 years on my phone. Yeah.
So the muse is striking you like a mother.
Well, it was, but now, I was saying before this, like I was like partway through the pirate book, and I just decided that I'd rather put suspension in my car, or I think I put it on Twitter that I'd rather just make a video game right now. It just happens. Like I'm like, oh well, I guess that magic's gone.
Can you do that? Can you make video games?
Yeah, I used to do that. Like I can do scripting. I can do C#.
You should make a video game about a bunch of rat pirates.
I was thinking that it really pisses me off. There's 2 types of game that I really want, and no one's done it, and that's Sid Meier's Pirates, like the old one, but with co-op. Like I want to be able to do that with my mates and sail around on our ships and stuff. And there's no game that's like that. There's all these like co-op pirate games or whatever. And I think one's just come out, and they're never the same. They're not quite right. But that with pirate rats, maybe I should make. And then the other one that I want is like a dungeon crawler like a, like one of those old Eye of the Beholders or any of that sort of stuff. But with co-op, I just want to play games with my mates. I don't like playing games on my own. I always feel like, I don't know, I cease to exist if other people aren't validating my existence by knowledge.
Well, that's a type of thing that happens though when you have friends.
Yeah, I mean, they're make believe, they're not real, but yeah, still friends.
But you could have a little pirate rat game, and you could just program it where if they get every level they beat the boss, they get a code for a chapter. You got to pay for the game, right? But you're going to get a free book. Yeah,
but my problem is I encourage rampant piracy in video games anyway. Like I do buy indie games, but if I had a publisher or anything like that with the game, then I would be like, steal it, don't pay them. I truly believe like it's a moral and civic duty to steal from corporations because they get tax breaks, and I'm like, well, the tax breaks came from my money anyway, so it's like I've already paid for it.
You make a fine point.
Yeah. But no, like, yeah, video games is like the worst hobby to get into, I think, because you have to do the writing, but then you also have to do the art, and you do the music, and and if you do it 3D, you have to model them and animate them and all that sort of thing. It's a pain in the ass.
Tim McKay says you're a genius.
He's talking to one of you guys for sure.
I'm not sure he's not. I am absolutely positive of that because I've met Mike. So.
Oh my God. He's going to need another one of the mental health days to deal with this bullying.
I just want to know if when Tim wrote that, he was in his head saying, he's a genius.
He's a genius. Where's Tim? Tim, are you from Australia? He's from Australia, no?
No, he's a Canadian.
No, Canadian, that's right. It's really strange because in my mind, everybody is either from Canada, Australia, or the US. And I always forget that England exists, even though I'm from there. And so whenever I hear one of these and there's an English author on there, I'm like, like, what the hell kind of accent is that?
I'm going to have to defend the English peoples.
Why?
Because I'm married.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I mean,
She's never going to watch this.
I could go upstairs and get her, and she'd come down right now and talk to you, sir.
Has she got like the posh Mary Poppins English accent as well?
Not a Mary Poppins accent, but she's like East Anglia, so it's a little posh-ish.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in England who would kind of, do that. But it's not super posh, but it's just posh enough where people think you might have money.
Yeah, I think that was like when I first moved to New Zealand, we had accents that were just posh enough that all the kids fucking hated us. Like,
that's it. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So, Ed, Bo beat me to the question. This is what I'm going to ask next. And
yeah.
You don't know how close I came to putting this on the thumbnail for this talk. And then I was like, I don't know that I want to be putting naked men on my thumbnails and for my YouTube channel. So
that's probably
the algorithm would really change. You could, and it's one of those things like, is this a horror channel or?
It would be.
Yeah, it's. I don't even like. I was reading all that stuff that was happening, and I was just thinking like how funny it would be for this guy, right? Like if I really wished that it happened, is that like he'd sent out this thing asking all these young people, like young girls, to like get naked with his book or whatever. If their dads had seen it, and just a whole bunch of dads had just got their kid off and sent them back to him. It was like, this is what you're after? Like just casually. Didn't make a big deal about it. I just thought that would be the funniest thing. And I'm like, there's no way that's going to happen. I can't
for anybody who doesn't know what you're talking about, you're going to have to go backwards a little bit. And
it's probably better if they don't.
No, I've heard the story. It's much better if he does.
So this like traditionally published, reasonably successful guy, I believe he writes horror or, something like that, crime, something like that, put out a call to all these YouTubers, Instagrammers, all young girls, some of whom were like younger than the legal age to be doing any of the stuff he was asking them to do, to pose naked or in saucy ways with his book as like a promo strategy. And he just wholesale just fired this out through his own, I think, promotional company or agency or something, asking these girls like, out of the blue, hey, here's my new book. Can you pose with it? And then the worst thing though, I mean, that was bad enough, but the worst thing was it was like, depending on how racy they were and how many followers they had, he'd pay a different rate. And I was like, imagine you get that, right? And he's like, okay, I'll pay you $8. You're like, oh, damn it. Oh, well. But anyway.
So he had a company that was helping him do this?
It was his own company.
Oh, his own. So he just...
Yeah, so he started a promotional company, and then that was the thing that they did. Like, as far as I'm aware.
So a promotional company did this?
Yeah. Like an actual company sent out this request to these women.
I wonder who the guy is who's looking for a job now who used to work for that company. Who the hell approved that?
Well, that's the thing. We were like really astounded by it. It came out, and I think it came out at nighttime when I was, with the whole time difference. I was like, I would do something immediately, but then I was like, nah. And then enough outrage had happened that people were aware of it, and I just thought it'd be really funny. And I was having a shower, and I caught a glimpse of myself. We have a fucking mirror opposite the shower. It's not the best idea. And I was like, oh God, who's this old skeleton?
You gained 50 pounds.
Yeah. I thought, well, it would be funny to just send him what he's asking for as a dude. And then I thought, nah, it'll be even funnier if I just post it online and tag him in it. So hopefully other dudes will do it too. But not many did. So I just posted that and put it up, and I think it might be my most shared and share, subscribed tweet I've ever posted.
Okay, this is what I want you to do. The photo of you in the SPFBO secret group.
Yeah.
I want you to take that photo and make it your photo of you for that group. That way you can talk about something other than food for a while.
Yeah, I believe that it sets it across all of Discord. So there'll be my playing video games with my dad's Discord chat that will then become that picture.
That might be awkward.
It would be pretty funny. I think he'd appreciate it though. He'd find it very funny. But yeah, it's just like I thought that the dude was a total twat, so I thought it would be funny to just mess with him. And I don't really care, I'm not fussed if people want to have a laugh over, it's a dude. I feel like naked dudes are just automatically funny,
yeah.
So
there's a reason there's not a lot of pictures of us.
And I pulled the worst face I could possibly pull, just to make it extra special for him. Yeah.
Oh my. So,
I'm so sorry, but yeah.
If you had other marketing ideas other than that, and it's a fair question.
Yeah, that's about the best I had. I'm all out of it. I should ask that guy's promotional company.
You should, yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah, you might have some great ideas.
So I want to go back. You said you had a pet rat?
Yes, I had 2 when I was a kid.
In England or in New Zealand?
No, in New Zealand. In New Zealand. So my dad was a biochemist, I think. And he grew up, they used to have dissect rats and animals and all that sort of thing. And it rather put him off doing it. And so he always encouraged us to have pet animals and, be kind to animals and whatnot. And so, yeah, we did that as kids. Unfortunately for him, the animals do have to die at some point. So it was also quite devastating. But then luckily, because he's a biochemist, you could just get chloroform or something and put little Mr. Twinkles the rat down if need be. But yeah, so I had 2 of them. I had a rat that was called Bellerophon and another one that was called John.
Bellerophon. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to have rats in New Zealand as pets with all the flightless birds that.
Yeah, it's a bit strange. I don't know if there are laws about it now, but back then you could.
Prison.
Well, you say that.
Allowed to have rats. Jesus, man! Of course, you get allowed to have rats.
We aren't allowed to have ferrets. I think we used to be, but they banned that. And they're kind of cool. They're all bendy. They're like little slinkies in animal form.
Furry slinkies.
Fold them up into little pretzels.
So was New Zealand a prison island like Australia or just Australia?
Not officially, I think. Yeah.
Or is that where the Australians sent the unruly ones?
Yeah, they sent them to the colonies regardless, but Australia was the actual official prison that they would send them to. New Zealand, I think it was just the escapees from Australia that came over here. No, New Zealand was actually like, I think for a long while it was like whalers and seal hunters set up down here, and obviously the Maori people were already here, and so then we traded a bunch of like beads and muskets and other rubbish that wasn't particularly useful for us for like most of the land.
Yeah, we did that too.
As you do, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like U.S. history.
Yeah.
Okay, with
Yeah,
that
the
down.
smart ones made it to New Zealand. I don't know about that.
So I have here written, you may have already answered it. What is your favorite series that you've read? And you can't say Tolkien.
And
book series.
Other than the one that you said.
Yeah,
Starship Troopers Highland. I actually only like was it The Moon is a Cruel Mistress? Is that what, did he write that? I can't remember. I'm really bad at this sort of shit. Every time anyone asks me what my favorite books are and stuff, I always forget. And I also forget what books I've even read. But
well, that's good though, because you can read them again and save you a lot of money.
Yeah, I do that. I literally only have Starship Troopers in my bedside cabinet. I just read it every year. It's like it's where I get all my fascist ideology, you know. We had heaps of books as kids, and I cannot remember any of them except for a few Terry Pratchett books and David Gemmell's Waylander series. That's probably my all-time favorite. There's 3 of them, I think. And it has a really cool ending. It's like one of those ones where there's 3 books, and then the end of the trilogy actually gets a really satisfying ending. So that was always my favorite one.
Not surprised that you've read Terry Pratchett at all.
Yeah, it's a horrifying thing to admit, but I don't actually find them all that funny. Like, I think it's because people read them and they're like, these are jokes, whereas I read them and I'm like, yep, seems legit. But I don't know. I really like his writing style. I actually like the stories he tells. Like, I like the Guards series probably the best, and also the ones with Granny Weatherwax, just like the witches. But yeah, I just don't really find his humor all that funny, which is strange. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not very good at picking favorite books or anything. I wouldn't want to, I wouldn't want to be mean to anyone that likes stuff that I didn't like anything by George R.R. Martin.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I can't stand it.
Fucking hated it. I got through the first book. I was dating a girl at the time who was really into fantasy, and I was like, you should read these. You probably like them. And she's like, why? And I'm like, because I fucking hate them. Like, it's just so super boring, super mean-spirited. Like, I don't want to read about people suffering for, like, you know, and it's like these plot lines, and you're like, oh, he's going to kill off your favorite characters. Actually, that's a thing as well. You know, everyone always says that no main character is safe. It's like, no, actually, he mostly only killed off a couple of them, and then the rest of them were pretty much safe. But anyway, yeah.
I've started to read the first book of that series, and honestly, I didn't make it halfway through.
No, it's so boring. I don't know why everyone likes it. I'm so sorry if it's your favorite book. Get a better book.
What they liked was the first year of the television show, which was, in all honesty, soft porn.
Yeah, it kind of was. It's like Black Sails. I love that show. Black Sails, so good. But it's so much better when they just moved away from the boobies and the willies and went to the, like, this is actually a precursor to Treasure Island. It was so much better then. But the earlier episodes, they're like, oh, we got to hook them with, like, people just want to see boobs on their TV. And it's like, you can do that with Google, my man. You don't need to have it in your shows. Like,
yeah, this isn't 1975. You don't need to
yeah, I know, right?
Catalog to roll around. It's, you know,
exactly.
We've progressed.
Yeah, but I did like the Game of Thrones TV show for the, like, the costuming and the vibe. Like, the atmosphere was really good. I liked that for the first, like, 3 or 4 seasons, and then it just went off the rails, total garbage. But yeah, so my favorite books and series and stuff, I am really bad at reading. I barely read any books now. I think I read like maybe 3 books a year at most, and that's just Starship Troopers 3 times. One forwards, backwards, and in a different language.
In Ukrainian?
Yeah, no, I can't actually speak Ukrainian. I can understand Russian, but I can't Ukrainian's like, it's basically the same, but with different letters occasionally, and they swap words around, so I think I'm saying a thing, but I'm actually saying a whole other thing, and it's, yeah. I'm so sorry for any Ukrainian people that watch this in the future.
I'm
You're already
pretty
being
sure-
shit on enough as it is, without me adding to it.
I'm pretty sure our Ukrainian demographic is pretty negligible.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure our demographic is pretty negligible.
Oh wow! We just need to change that profile, the thumbnail to me naked, and it'll
there you go.
it'll draw a crowd, but it won't be the right one.
Yeah, they might expect more of that, and that had to be Rose because I'm not doing that.
It could just be a thing.
Not me, friend. Did you ever tell us the name of? Do you have a working title for your Watership Down rat pirate story?
I actually don't. So I don't think of the name of the series until the end, pretty much. Or
what are you calling it in your head?
Rat Pirate Book.
Rat Pirate Book. Okay.
I should just call it that, right? Like it's just Rat Pirate Book. Cover title is just a rat pirate.
Put a color in front of it. The blue Rat Pirate Book, the yellow Red Pirate Book.
Yeah. This is what
Rat Pirate Book.
The name on the tin is what you get,
There you go.
Yeah, I have like a another story that I'm writing that's a follow up to the Vashivka trilogy, but it's third person and a larger sort of cast of characters and all that sort of stuff as well. But that's like boiling away in the background. Occasionally I add to that when I have something to. But...
So it would really suck for you to lose your phone then.
Oh yeah, this thing's so garbage though. Like, it's all online, right? It's Google Docs, so
okay.
I can just download it and stuff. But yeah, I ordered a new phone like 3 weeks ago and still not arrived. So that's New Zealand, man. Like everything takes so long to get here. And shipping books to people, like if people want signed copies, it's like these are the crappy author copies. Actually, these ones did just arrive recently, and they took 2 months to get here.
Ooh, yikes!
I'm pretty sure they were printed in Australia too, actually, which is really bizarre. Like you could literally.
What does it cost you to mail a book to the United States?
Oh, like $90 New Zealand, which is what 50 or so US dollars, something like that.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous, eh? Like, so I just don't. No, I do. It's the problem. It's like all the money I make on selling books just goes back into sending them to people.
What do you have? I mean, what you probably sell through Amazon and they get it printed here, right? I mean, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's the easiest way. So, but it's just if people want signed books, I like drawing little silly pictures in them.
Mm-hmm.
But then I just realized I can get printable labels and draw those and then just mail that. It's a little cheaper. It's like. Yeah, it's like $5 or $6 still to send an envelope with some stickers in them.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, what's really crazy is that I've sent my books to Canada. It cost me about $50-$60 to ship to Canada, and it's just right there.
You could have driven them there.
Well, yeah, but there's no countries in Canada yet, so until there are.
It'll be all the customs checks. They got to make sure that you're not like smuggling guns and drugs and whatever else you'd smuggle.
No, the Canadians just say, "You're bringing books, eh? I didn't know Americans read."
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we're getting rid of them.
What's that?
If it was the other way, they'd have to check it for like propaganda. Make sure this is not on the burn list.
You're not bringing back any socialized medicine, are you?
Yeah. Ooh, this better not have any sort of positive things to say about like sharing.
I shipped to the U.S. Tim, are you from Canada? Where's Tim from?
Yeah, it is
Tim,
Canada,
he's
right?
from Canada, he said.
Yeah. Whereabouts?
Ottawa.
Okay.
And either everyone in chat has stopped typing or else my screen is frozen because I haven't had anything new in a while. So
no, yeah, Tim just said he's from Ottawa.
Sorry, I've got to ask Tim a question and we'll get back to it. Tim, have you ever seen Canadian Bacon with Alan Alda and John Candy? It's a fine piece of American film. It's a horrible film, but it's kind of funny. It's not like Strange Brew kind of, but it's really close.
I have no idea what film that is.
Strange Brew?
No.
Oh, Strange Brew is from like 1983 with Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas.
Yeah, I know who those are, but I don't know the movie.
So they had these two guys on Second City Television, Doug and Bob McKenzie. Yeah. And it's freaking hilarious. And they did a movie called Strange Brew, and it's a great movie to have a drinking game to.
Oh, nice.
But if you do not say we're going to drink every time they say A or beer or hoser. If you try any of those three words, you will
dead
be
in 15
drunk
minutes.
before the first half hour.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna add that to my list of old movies.
Canadian Bacon's just another goofy movie where Alan Alda's the president of the United States, and they need to start a little conflict somewhere, so they start a war with Canada.
That's brilliant. Yeah. I actually feel as though there's like not a like a market for that level of film anymore. I've noticed there's only like huge blockbusters or sequels to another Disney movie are like the only movies that we really get. And I kind of miss that, whatever that tier of filmmaking was, where you'd have like the silly raunchy comedies like American Pie or, you know, those sorts of ones. Or then you'd have like those parody movies as well. Just gone.
So Tim said he's never heard anyone say hoser. We say hoser all the time, eh? Good day, eh? How's it going, eh? I'm done.
Yeah.
Brother Bob. Anyway, good day. So yeah, we listen to Montreal radio stations. I watch Montreal sports teams. Setting up 00 set. That's the extent of my French. It's 790-0711, which is the phone number to Chaume FM, the spirit of classic rock in Montreal.
We should all call them.
You should.
Request
790-0711. No idea why I remember that. I haven't lived in Vermont for ages. But,
oh my god! The things that you remember, especially if it's like radio station shit. Like I still remember. I think it was like KCCFM or something. I worked on like a. Do you guys know what kumara are? What would you call it? Sweet potato. Kumara. It's a sweet potato. Yeah. Like they're like those purple things. And yeah, I used to work on a machine that would go along harvesting them, just scoops them up out of the ground. You stand there just sorting out the bundles of them. And they just listen to this fucking radio station called KCCFM. And it was like they would play the same 4 songs, because I think in New Zealand we were only allowed 4 songs at a time. And so they'd just play the same 4 songs. And it was like Crowded House, which is like a Kiwi Australian band. And then there were a couple of other New Zealand songs. And then there was like one American song. And the one for the entire month that I was there, and it's not American either, it's Canadian, it was Nickelback.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like...
So Crowded House, Midnight Oil probably... Men Without Hats and Nickelback.
Yeah, it might have been like In Excess or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like Bikronga and fucking Nickelback for my entire summer as a teenager, picking kumara on this machine. Thanks, KCCFM. I didn't actually mind Nickelback. You know, everyone shits on them, and I'm like, it's not that bad. Like, there's worse stuff to listen to.
But I don't even know who they are. I just know that everyone shits on them.
Well, that's it. It's like they shit on them, but I don't think they've even listened to them. I've heard like maybe 3 of their songs, one of which was that one song just played endlessly, and then the other one was that Photograph song, which is always funny.
In response to our Canadian friend, I will say that Canada does do one thing extraordinarily well.
What is that?
It's a beer. It's a Molson Canadian. The last time I was in Vermont, I went to the border, and the border guard said,
"Smuggled fucking beer across."
I said, "How long will you be in Canada?" I said, "About 15 minutes." You're like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm going to go get some beer. They're like, all right, off you go. And they used to have a beer in Quebec called Brador. Tim, I don't know if you remember this or not, but back in the 80s and 90s, they had a beer called Molson Brador. It was like a 5.2 beer. It was fantastic. But
is that the percentage?
Yeah, they haven't made it in like 20 or 30 years. But as kids, we would go to Montreal. Because Montreal has some great bars, and the drinking age in Canada was basically if you can bring it to the counter and put it on the counter, you can buy it.
Yeah, you're like this. You got your beer.
Yeah. So we would get like 5 guys, and we get to the border, and you didn't need a passport at the time. And they'd say, "Where are you guys going?" And one of my buddies would kind of poke his head around and say, "Montreal." "What for?" "Entertainment." And they would just laugh and send you through. And
that's awesome.
You go hit the clubs up on St. Catherine Street, and it was a good time.
It's 21 in America, isn't it? The drinking age?
Yeah, it changed where I live. My senior year of high school, it went from 18 to 21. So
there would have been a period. What if you were already like 18 and then they increased the drinking age? Do you have to stop drinking?
The way they did it was if you were 18 for July 1st of 1986, you're good to go.
Okay.
And if you're 18 after July 1st, you get to wait 3 more years. So I missed it by less than 2 weeks.
Oh man, yeah, we've got a drinking age of 18 here, like officially on the paper, but I think it's about 8. And yeah, I think they did the same thing with smoking. They banned smoking for anyone born after a certain time. So even if you turn 18, you still legally couldn't buy cigarettes. They were like, this generation will never be able to buy cigarettes. And they just said, right, anyone born after this date will never be able to buy them. And then the new government that just got in on the last elections reversed that. And so people can buy cigarettes once they're 18. But of course, the media was like, they want to sell cigarettes to children. It's like, you don't have to sell them cigarettes, you just give them cigarettes. They actually steal their cigarettes in ram raids anyway, so you don't have to sell them anything. But yeah, it's like you just, like, they're going to be 18, right? Like, you should be able to just, I could smoke, why can't they? But, you know, it got all politicized and stuff. And I thought about, like, why are they even, like, the different in drink? Like, in America, can you smoke when you're 18, but you can't drink until you're 21 or something? And it's like, you got this really weird disparity.
Yeah. In the late 70s, early 80s, I would go up to the little, you know, stop and shop kind of place and get cigarettes for my brother. I was like 12, 13 years old, riding my banana seat bike up there. You know, it's like, hey, I need 2 packs of Marlboro Red for my brother. And they're like, yeah, I don't give a shit who it's for. Off you go.
Yeah.
I didn't care.
When they started doing all the banning and stuff over here, because they want to make New Zealand smoke free, that, like, over my fucking dead body, over my lung cancer related dead body, I as a teacher, I was just like, well, we're just going to have to teach the kids horticulture and teach them how to grow their own, you know?
Well, what would you rather have? I mean, I'm not a smoker, right? And I never really have been. But if it's a choice between smoking a cigarette or vaping,
I can't stand vaping.
Right? It's like, I'd rather you be stupid than be a douche. It's
that's the thing. You know? It's like vaping might be cool, but like it might be better or something, but you look like a dork. So, yeah. I'm still, I don't know, maybe it's a generational thing, but I still think smoking looks cool.
So
it's just awful. Anyway, we have really, really gotten off the rails.
Yeah.
So, Ed, I always tell people if I get to be king of the world for a day, I'm going to ban all smoking except for barbecue.
Oh, well, can you just, like, put a little proviso to one of those little asterisks and say, and Ed?
Well, yeah, New Zealand doesn't count. By the time you get to New Zealand, you'll be in your 70s.
We're not even in the maps half the time. Like, you see the world map, and they're like, all of the countries of the world unite, and there's no New Zealand. And I'm always just like, okay. Like, it's so weird.
Oh, I have to ask, do any of your rat pirates have an eye patch?
No, none of them do.
Oh, they absolutely need one.
Yeah.
They lost it in a trap or something.
I feel as though if you lost your eye and you look, you know, you wanted to look fearsome, you just get like a really gnarly fake one. I feel like that's way cooler than an actual patch. Yeah, like just a giant, really large eye.
Right.
Yeah.
And do the rats, are their tails prehensile?
Sort of, pseudo. Yeah, like semi-prehensile. Prehensile enough that they can comically, like, hold things or whatever, like hold a sword.
So,
but I don't think that's realistic.
Or cigarette.
Yeah, like their pipe, tobacco. Well, in every single book I've ever written, people smoke. Like, it's like a main thing. Everybody does it. I'm trying to, you know, if they somehow put an age rating on it, it would be like for promoting tobacco use. Peggy 18.
Promoting smoking and rats.
Yeah.
Isn't that how we got cigarettes in the first place? Is by force feeding a bunch of rats tobacco?
Probably. Well, yeah. I'm gonna market this specifically for children. It'll be like middle grade pirate rat fantasy, and it will just be all about like how you should smoke, you should drink, you should never pay your taxes, like. And it'll even have like a QR code to where you can pirate the rest of the series.
So, how many books is this going to be? This series?
Oh, I haven't even thought that part ahead. I feel as though it could be an ongoing thing. Every time I want to crib off some other intellectual property, I'll just add it to the rat pirate world. If I hide it behind a layer of rat pirate, people won't realize that I'm stealing from like whatever. You know.
Twilight.
Yeah, I just steal Twilight, put that straight into the rat pirate thing. They wouldn't even notice.
Vampire rat pirates.
it would be like they sparkle in the sunlight because they're
were-rats.
like iguanas or something, you know.
Yeah, I like
And
it.
people go, "Wow, this is so original. How does he come up with this stuff?"
Not by smoking.
Yeah, you think that's tobacco I'm smoking?
So, Ed, I asked this last night, and Ro laughed at me. So I'm going to ask
Be
you.
fair, I always do.
So when I'm trying to write my books, and I decide what has to happen in the chapter, and I tell my characters this, and then they argue with me. Do you argue with your characters, and do you ever win if you do argue with him?
No, I just kill the little shits off.
That's the secret.
Yeah, and then you think, oh, well, it's terrible that I killed that character off. I should bring them back. And then they'll behave because they know what's coming. Yeah, no, I just let them do what they want. It's like I've had complaints about like the first book where the main character doesn't really do a hell of a lot. I mean, partly that's because she's a captive, but part of that's deliberate because it's like the Slavic style of telling stories. It's more about like the spirits or whatever and the general vibe than it is about the individual character deciding to do shit. But then in the later books, when she gets more of that agency, I just wing it. Like I'll just be typing, and I'd want a chapter to go a certain way, and then halfway through, she's actually traveled down this whole other path, done a whole bunch of other stuff, and I'm like, oh well, you seem to know where you're going.
I'll trust. You thought of it, inserting yourself as the god figure over this world of rats, you know, so then you can like pick them off one by one when they start getting uppity.
Yeah. They're all irreligious, right? They don't believe in any sort of religion, and I'll be like, "Joke's on you, you little shits." Insert typhoon here. But no, like in the first book, I did sort of Deus Ex Machina or whatever, or Machina, however you're supposed to say it. I did that a little with the character Phobos Land. He's like a little gnome, and if I needed the plot to do a thing, I was thinking, oh, I could use him to do it, and it could just be a sort of running gag where he just comes up and sort of fixes the plot. But then I was like, that would be a little too on the nose, I think. Yeah. So I pulled that back. But the original drafts had a lot more of him, you know, influencing the story throughout. The fingerprints are still all over it, but it's not as overt.
Is there a story here to what Tim's saying?
Yeah, so I posted about the there's a story in Ukrainian folklore about a magic mitten where a dude just drops a mitten in the snow, and over the course of the story, these little animals come and live in it.
Oh yeah, I've read that.
Big animals, you know, the big bear at the end, and some endings the mitten breaks or something, and I think that's meant to be a critique of like communism or whatever. But in the earlier versions, it was always just that the guy who owned the mitten comes back into the woods and goes, "Oh yeah, there's my mitten," and he just takes it back, and all the animals have to bugger off and find somewhere else to live. And I love the fact that it doesn't have a purpose; it's just a fun story, and it's like a really it's such a long-lasting folkloric story, and there are a lot of in Ukrainian and Russian folklore, a lot of stories that have that same sort of vibe where they don't really have a purpose. They're just there to tell a fun story or whatever. And the characters themselves just, they don't have agency or whatever that people call it. So I tweeted about that. And I just said, you know, people have complained about my first book saying the main character doesn't have a lot of agency, and they've seen that as like a negative thing. And I thought perhaps that might be because we're so used to stories where the main character is the driving force behind everything that happens in the story or the world or whatever. And it's really the opposite in a lot of like traditional Slavic or particularly Russian stories. But then actually there were a lot of responses to that thread, most of which were really nice actually. I don't think anyone was being a dick, which is really rare on Twitter.
You're right.
Yeah, and then it got me thinking. I think someone actually pointed out that like the Odyssey, like how much agency does Odysseus have? Like not really any. He just goes, I think no, you won't. Gods have decided to intervene. You know, like, and it made me realize that I, think it's more a modern storytelling thing where we need the main character to make the decisions, do all the things. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. It's fine if that's the thing, but.
You could make the same example out of a lot of the Bible, I think.
Yeah.
How much agency do you have if we're all going to be killed and we are fated to die in a horrible flood?
Yeah, that's true. It's like
except for those people right there.
What I want to know. Okay, little question about the Bible.
You're asking.
So they get on a boat, right? They get on a boat and they say take 2 of every species on the boat. But right. Besides the inherent issues with that, why did they take leeches and mosquitoes? Whose dick-ass idea was it to take them?
Or skunks.
Yeah, skunks are kind of cute, but you'd want to adjust them slightly.
You don't want a fart squirrel on your boat.
You could have taken a fucking stegosaurus, and instead you take a mosquito, and I mean the size difference probably, but your magic boat can fit fucking elephants anyway. So, but yeah, just silly. It's just silliness.
So
I think I asked that in Bible in schools as a little kid and got like sent out of the room. So it stuck with me.
So Ed, the place where I grew up in Kentucky, they now have a replica of Noah's Ark, and it is a huge tourist attraction. And I'm so sad to say that I came from that area.
That's so awesome.
I'm not from that area too, so.
Oh, that's so badass. Does it have does it have enough space in it for a whole bunch of animals and shit? Like, do they have like barns and things?
I don't know. My favorite part about the whole thing is that they sued the company that built it because it leaked.
Because they were going to float it.
They were actually going to float it.
No, they weren't.
Oh, damn it. I was going to say, that's amazing.
But it's right next to the Creation Museum.
Oh, sick. That's so cool.
While we're oversharing.
I find that stuff so fascinating because most people in New Zealand are pretty much atheists. Like, there's not a lot of religion here. I like religion. I think it's fun. And I don't really care what people believe in. Like, it's none of my business. But I just find it so fascinating that people can so vehemently believe like a story that just a slight like you just take a tiny look at it and you're like, doesn't hold up, my man. But I love it. It's so good.
When I was getting my my bachelor's degree, I was stationed in Alaska, and we only have certain schools that are there, and one of them was a Baptist university, who I won't name. And one of the things was you had to take Old Testament and New Testament history classes, and I said, "Oh, it's a history class, right? This might be kind of fun, right?" First day we're there, I'm sitting in the front, and the guy says, I am a conservative Baptist preacher, and I believe that the Bible is word for word as God gave it to the man who wrote it down."
What, like in English?
And I said, so how do you account for, the Aramaic to the Hebrew to the Latin to the English where words don't?
Yeah.
And he said, word for word as God gave it to the man who wrote it down. I'm just going to go in the back of the room and I'll just hang out there.
You got to respect him for sticking to his guns, though, eh? Like,
the reason I bring it up is because you had to pick an essay, right, for a final paper. And I said, I am going to do something on how it is perfectly legitimate how the ark could hold two of every animal, right?
Yeah.
Thinking to myself, this is complete bullshit, right? But I am going to find someone who says it, and I am going to write a paper that perfectly says, because that's what this man wants to hear.
Yeah.
And I remember pushing myself back from my desk at home and looking at my wife and saying, this is the worst thing I've ever written. I'm going to get an A. And sure enough, absolutely, I got an A in that class.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It was just so hard to go to that class every day, but whatever.
Yeah.
Ed, I have a random question for you, but I have a point, I swear.
Let's try that. It might work. What the hell?
Do you guys get tornadoes like ever in New Zealand?
Like a twister, like a...
Yeah.
I think maybe. I've never seen one.
As we started talking about religion, this is what I want now. If I had any artistic talent, I would draw this. I want your face in the clouds with the tornado coming down, trying to grab one of your pirates off the boat.
Oh, God. Okay, that's got to be the book cover.
Mike, you said your question had a point. You promised a point.
I am very entertained by this. That's as much
That's
as you
good a point as you need, right? Like, that's pretty much my driving philosophy for life.
All right. We are losing our audience. For anybody who's still left here, thank you.
Yeah, I'm really sorry for blaspheming.
Indulging us for the last 78 minutes.
On the next chat, we'll do like Hindus, and then maybe we'll just work our way through all the different religions.
We are equal opportunity here.
Yeah, I just feel like I'll insult all the gods until one of them zaps me, and then I know which one's right.
Ugh.
There are so many from which to choose. All right. Morgan Stang.
Morgan is legit. He's such a
Have
cute
you just
little
been
dog.
skulking out in here?
I swear to God, like I have no idea how to imagine Morgan's face. Like, so it was the longest time before I realized that Morgan was actually a dude. I don't know why. I was like, Morgan Stanks, like a lady, but that might just be because the Spindle Manor's got a very, I guess, feminine kind of vibe to the cover. And so I was like, okay. And then he was like, yeah, I'm a dude. I'm like, okay. And then I saw the picture, and because I've never actually seen Morgan's face, I was like, he's a dog. That's cool.
We don't want to impose gender norms on him. He's free to do whatever he wants.
Exactly.
I can't tell you.
Ready for a dog the post.
Every day I get an email that says Ms. Bushy, so whatever. It's all good.
Yeah, I truly believe it. Yeah, that's what I maintain. It's great.
Good boy. Good boy.
Write another book. Come on, buddy.
All right.
But I swear Morgan's going to win this competition because Morgan's the only one that doesn't do these interviews and stuff, and it's just going to be so funny. All these people
is it that Morgan?
Yes.
Yeah, that's that Morgan.
Oh.
So it's like, I will interview the winner of SPFBO 9, and it's like, no, you won't. So I just find that really funny.
Morgan wouldn't agree to be on the show.
He's seen our show.
He's going to hang out.
Yeah,
in that room.
That's how Morgan rolls.
He's seen our show. That's why. Ooh.
That's exactly it. That's the one I said. That's the really hard to catch Pokemon, right? I know jack shit about Pokemon. I just know there's a clown one, which is hilarious, and then there's that one, which is like the weird space alien thing, right? And it's like the last one.
I just know Pikachu. That's the only one I know.
So if we're gonna all be Pokemon, I'd be like the weird clown one, I guess.
All right, now we've reached into Pokemon territory. I think it's time we all wave goodbye.
We're in uncharted waters now.
Okay, everyone wave awkwardly. I'm ending the stream.
Thanks for